Public accounting didn't just teach me accounting and taxes, it actually taught me to be strategic and plan my coffee breaks. Yeah, so I found out I picked up some strange and kind of awful habits while being in the corporate world, things that I thought were normal at the time. But now that I've been out of it for about 2 years and doing my own thing, I have been trying really hard to reprogram my brain. So let me walk you through some of the worst ones. And if you want to know my origin story and kind of the series I'm going through, we can check out a few of the other videos that I have talking about that. But let's get into the fun part. Let's start with the classic and my personal favorite, coffee. So I love coffee. I enjoy it just because it's a nice warm cup of goodness. But also, I craved that extra boost of productivity, and really, I was not awake in the morning to start my work off at all without that cup of coffee. But really, what it became was a permission slip. It was socially acceptable for me to be away from my desk if I was getting a cup of coffee, or if it was a particularly rough time and you've been at the office for too long. You can put going out for coffee, would walk down the street, grab a cup from the local shop, come back, and it's all okay. No one blinks an eye. Heck, most of the time managers would actually chip in, go with you, so you get to talk a little bit there, and then they'll pay for your coffee. So even better, you get a little bit exercise, you get extra coffee. Really what I was getting is a lot of sugar because what I usually get is sugary kind of coffee drinks at the time. Because why not? You're working so much, you might as well get something good. But I started to realize just going up to the break room to make some crappy coffee through the instant bags, or they have that big cappuccino machine where you just click on like mocha with foam and you want like half milk. That machine, that was dangerous. It wasn't particularly great coffee, but it was an excuse to get up and do something other than work. And what I realized was I'm getting up, I'm wasting time with something I don't even really want or need just so I can take a break from work. So when did coffee become a break? It became an unhealthy kind of correlation where I also started to hate coffee. It sucked the joy out of my coffee time. Not only did I get that midday crash from coffee, I started to really get the sugary drinks because I wanted to make it taste kind of like a treat. So now I'm treating myself for not doing some work and taking a break. But you can only do this. You can only take a break once you've actually worked a certain hour until you got to, let's say, lunchtime, right? You work so hard, you deserve that coffee break. So what I started to realize was now I have to earn my coffee. It's not bad, really. I don't need to have coffee. You don't need to have coffee every single day. I started to feel guilty when I didn't work that hard and I still wanted coffee because it became so ingrained into my brain that I needed coffee all the time. Yeah, that was coffee. So I'm actually not drinking coffee anymore. And it's great. 10/10 would recommend if you can get off coffee or caffeine specifically. Next up is I could only work if someone was watching. So if a manager was walking by, I would have all my tabs out, my Excel would be up, I would be sipping away at my coffee, I would be working my butt off. It wasn't about getting the stuff done. It was more about looking like I was getting things done. And that's where the problem was. It turns out I made this line between visibility and value. And I didn't really know how to feel good about my work unless someone was seeing it, like watching it. I imagine this is why people work at coffee shops quite often. They want to be productive and show that they're working in front of someone else. And that's something that I've been trying really hard. And it's taking me a really long time to kind of kick out and take out that habit. I want to work and have a deep focus work for a certain amount of time and just feel productive for that time without having to prove to anyone that I am working and getting something done. Because at the end of the day, it's for me and it's for my own growth, learning, business. That has made it easier. I imagine it's going to be quite hard if I go back to corporate for me to feel the same way and have that same mentality towards corporate work. But who knows? It might be the case. All right, here's another one. I couldn't start anything unless I was micromanaged. My entire job was task-based. So if it was assigned to me, I'd work on it. But if it wasn't, it was out of my realm, not my problem. So the second I started to work for myself, it kind of crumbled. I couldn't. I realized in corporate, I was always putting out some sort of dumpster fire. I was always solving a problem, working on a specific client, doing something historical that's already been done, just tying the knot, making it look pretty most of the time. It hit me that I was trained to respond to pressure and not purpose. And the motivation that I used to have under corporate was no longer there. And I need to find something to motivate myself more. It was on me now to not only find motivation, but to give myself a deadline and just do it all. And then there was the availability theater. It was me trying to stay green on Teams, meaning I was available and actively working, instead of yellow, meaning I was away, or oh my goodness, if I was grayed out and offline before 7 p.m., there would probably be a riot and I would get called out for it the next day. It was so bad. I was logging in on the weekends just to stay green and not even working. But it showed that I was available for questions if people had them, or etc., etc. I realized it was so deeply ingrained into my life that if I looked like I was resting, it just felt wrong. It felt wrong to have a boundary, to log off by 7 p.m., even by 10 p.m. It felt kind of wrong. And that was a problem. I feel like as an entrepreneur, you need to have work-life balance. Yes, I can work 24 hours in a day, but as long as the next day I have some sort of downtime to myself, I'll do it. If I choose not to take any business calls after 7 p.m., I'm just not taking any business calls. Here's the wild part. Now that I work for myself, none of these habits help me. I had to unlearn to use coffee as a break, that performance and productivity are not the same thing. Honestly, accounting taught me how to survive work, but I'm now learning to enjoy it. Yeah, so if you picked up any weird habits from your job or your life in the office, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear them. See what your office trained you to do. And if you're trying to break those habits like I am, you're not alone. We'll unlearn them together. If you've been liking my videos, I like and subscribe. This is part of my Accounting Taught Me series, which has been quite fun to do. Kind of reliving my public accounting experience hasn't been the greatest time, but it has solidified why I decided to quit and just give me motivation to continue going. I have been enjoying this. Slowly getting back into a groove of things. I have been, working out a decent schedule so far. So follow me and I'll see you next week for my next video. All right, like and subscribe, please. Thanks for watching. Bye.